The next speaker is Peter Valentine.
Peter Excalibur Valentine, United States Military and National and Planetary Security Center, 37 Brookline Street. There will come a time when you know that I am right. But for now it is given to me to speak the bitter truth, because after many years of studying this, the evidence is overwhelming, and yet at this time I'm sure you will not understand, because if you did, you would have been so outraged by now that you would have taken action. Nevertheless, without a speck of hesitation, I know what I have to do. I will be the voice of the American people until they awaken to the massive war of subversion being waged against them by demented European powers. And when the American people awaken, I'm sure that they will be able to speak for themselves. Near the end of this report, I will prove beyond doubt that the federal entity is conspiring with these foreign powers to overthrow the United States of America. I am now ordering 30 million people to go to Washington, D.C. to demand that the national directives be carried out. Every person, every single person will carry an American flag, and I'm ordering the rest of the nation to support them with food and supplies. I am empowering and ordering the City Council to establish an initial coordination base for this action. All participants, including supporters, are to carry and use the national defense weapon. The instructions for this weapon are at the City Clerk's office. If anyone challenges you, inform them that you are acting on orders from the national officer in charge under a constitutional state of imminent danger that will not admit delay. Then we will bring the matter to court and bring forward all the crimes and acts of treason committed by the federal entity since it surrendered control of the nation's currency into the hands of foreigners, none of whom were sworn to uphold the Constitution. Blessed are the meek, for they shall not be divided, and in not being divided, what they build shall last. This report activates the process whereby the people shall create an everlasting Constitution. As national officer in charge, it is necessary to confront and defeat all aspects of the beast that calls itself a New World Order. The beast has caused destabilization through various weak points in our Constitution, a Constitution which was written under circumstances totally unlike those of our day. Therefore, the information I place on public record begins to clarify the constitutional issues that we must take on the responsibility for dealing with. It takes a certain level of knowledge and organizational discipline to write something as meaningful as a document whereby 263 million people may live together in peace and joy. Our first Constitution was written by all males, some of which of good intention, others rich with strictly their own interests in mind, and others were in actuality infiltrators of the beast that calls itself a New World Order. I know the people of this country have enough knowledge and sense of organizational discipline to take on this great and exciting task. The experience will strengthen us in mighty ways. I therefore am serving notice to all American citizens from the age of 7 years and up that you are now soldiers in the elimination from our country and the absolute defeat of the beast that calls itself a New World Order. It is the duty of the children to force the adults by constant questioning to produce ideas for the everlasting Constitution that are understandable. There will also be a section in the everlasting Constitution relating specifically for children. As there will be sections related to the rights and duties and security issues of all sectors of our society. No longer will we live by vague rules that can be manipulated by cunning gluttons. Your orders are as follows. 1. You are to obtain a copy from the City Clerk's office of this document, now placed on file, titled The Everlasting Constitution Number 1. It contains 21 pages. Order number 2, you are to obtain a notebook and begin writing down and thinking out ideas about things you think should be in the Everlasting Constitution. Order number 3, you are to meet with others to evolve an organizational format for the coordination and refining of how the Everlasting Constitution will be developed. In the following report, I will present a few suggestive organizational concepts to activate a sense of an overall vision for achieving the task. Order number 4, you are to obtain copies of this message on video and send the video and copies of this first everlasting constitutional report to friends and organizations around the country, filling them in on information based upon related reports I placed on public file in March and April of this year. On another related note, I'm hereby ordering the Secretary of Defense to deliver $40 billion to the United States Treasury to be released at my command for use in facilities. Would you mind being quiet just for a second, please? Thank you. I hereby order the Secretary of Defense to deliver $40 billion to the United States Treasury to be released at my command for use in facilitating the people's efforts in regard to the development of the everlasting Constitution and to assist the people in preparing for other necessary future activities. I'm now canceling all active presidential executive emergency orders and declaring that anyone implementing them without my sanction will be charged with treason. The fact that the federal entity can take billions upon billions of dollars from the American people for defense projects while never giving any account of specifically what any of it is being spent for, and then not being able to defend the American people other than by imprisoning them under a state of dictatorship via activation of emergency executive orders, is an act of fraud, treason, and war crimes against the citizens of the United States of America. We, the people, will now give the orders, and the government will follow. We will educate ourselves as to how we have been slaughtered in pre-arranged wars, betrayed, manipulated, lied to, tormented, and how our national wealth has been stolen from us. How we have been denied the benefit of inexpensive new systems of healing, and the doctors who created those systems arrested and placed in prison. We will become aware of all the technology we've been denied, which could have and still can make our lives better, such as the long-ago discovery of free, non-polluting energy. And then with this knowledge, we will slowly build our lives and build an invincible path to our stunning victory. Everything I placed on public file facilitates this process. Based upon information from various sources and indicated in this report, I am ordering the immediate investigation of 3 agencies on charges of treason, war crimes against the American people. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is spending millions of dollars building concentration camps. MJTF, the Multi-Jurisdictional Task Force, whose written mission statement is to smash into people's homes and take every man, woman, and child away for identification. I ask you to think about the implications of that mission statement. And FinCAN, the Financial Crime Enforcement Network, who at present are prowling the skies of America in specially designed marked black helicopters, spraying chemicals on civilian areas which are actually killing animals. FinCAN helicopters are also reported hovering over citizens, aiming weapons at them. The beast's plan to overthrow our government and destroy our nation involves the use of these and UN foreign forces to kill, imprison, and enslave Americans. All clearly explained on one page in this report. The UN element is covered in my March '96 public records submission. I am ordering the immediate deactivation of all multi-jurisdictional task force and FinCAN activity, and I am ordering FEMA to 1. Cease building concentration camps, 2. Dismantle all concentration camps it has built, and 3. Provide me with a list of all concentration camps located throughout the country. I'm ordering all television stations to cease from showing any more police violence programs. To do so will be considered an act of treason punishable by life imprisonment, as their purpose in actuality is to serve as brainwashing propaganda to prepare the populace for the beast's intention of creating a public state, a police state,
Mr. Valentine, you have 1 more minute.
Of which I have unchallengeable proof. I'm ordering all police stations to establish national defense units where citizens, if they wish, will receive training in national defense abilities. I'm ordering the activation of a government television station to deliver to the American people the massive amounts of information they have been denied. I now read the oath binding all officers elected or appointed to civil and armed services. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties this office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. Here is the proof of federal treason. Did you know that the Senate of the United States has removed our Constitution and placed our nation under the godless rulership of the Constitution of the UN? That in their minds, our Constitution no longer exists? The full text is in the report. But here I quote 83rd Congress, Senate Document 87, after it had been ratified, the UN Charter. I quote, "The United States has consistently regarded its treaties with other nations as inviolate. The Charter has become," then they quote, "the U.S. Constitution. The supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby." In the intensely deceptive style of the beast, they say that the UN Charter has replaced the U.S. Constitution as the law of the land. I ask you, where in the U.S. Constitution does it say that it is permissible to sign a treaty with a non-sovereign body? The UN is an organization, not a country.
Mr. Valentine, your time is up. I've let you go.
Madam Mayor, I had to deal with people who were interfering with my communication. That took up some time. I have a few more sentences, and I appreciate it if I could finish.
I will give you 1/2 minute.
Thank you. Where does it say which ends the authority of the United States Constitution? Nowhere. Nor was this action of the attempted elimination of our sacred Constitution brought before the states or the people. Our sacred Constitution and we are not the private property of federal employees. This action of the United States Senate was an outright act of treason, and since it attempted to surrender the United States sovereignty into the hands of foreigners, it was an act of treason. I therefore am ordering the arrest of all federal government officials involved on charges of treason. I am also ordering the immediate investigation of the UN on charges of conspiring to overthrow our Constitution, govern in lands of the United States of America. I now quote...
Mr. Valentine, your time is up now.
Madam Mayor, I'm going to be kind, and I'm going to win, but I have sovereignty in this situation, and I'm just informing you of that.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine. The next speaker is George Despotis. Mr. Despotis?